everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiara, aka Bookworm Babe, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different and a little bit fun. Well, not a little bit, but like, you know, fun. It's so gloomy and so dark today, so I am feeling really cozy. I have like my wrap on and everything, and this is really comfy. It has like sparkles on it. You can't really tell, but if you see it up close, it's sparkly and it's very comfy. So yeah, I'm very cozy today. But today I wanted to introduce you guys and show you guys a few reads that I really enjoyed in my childhood. So that's what this video is today. We're gonna talk about I think I have 5 or 6. I honestly had to kind of narrow it down, but 5 or 6 of my favorite childhood reads and just talk about them, because like we all start loving reading and things like that when we're kids, and there's those books and those whatever you read that really like piques your interest. So these are some of the things that I used to love to read and I was absolutely obsessed with when I was a kid. So let's jump into it. The first set of books that I have, and this was a series, but so I just grabbed all 3 of them. So I hope I'm not the only one who really enjoyed these. These are called Sideways Stories from Wayside School, and then I believe the second book was this one, Wayside School is Falling Down, and then the third one was Wayside School Gets a Little Stranger. And they had turned this into a series on like Teletoon, I think, maybe I want to say like 10 years ago or something like that, if I'm the only one who might remember it. But these books were so funny and so like, there was so much character in them, and that's why I really liked them. So I had read the first one, so Sideways Stories from Wayside School. I had read this in my class, and I think I was in grade 3 or something. And basically, if you see the contents, right, there's a story about everybody in the classroom. So there's Mrs. Gorf, Miss Jules, Joe, Sherry, Todd, BB, Calvin, Myron, etc., right? All the different classmates in the classroom, and there's 30 of them, but they're really short stories because the book was only like 100 and something, yeah, like 120 pages, right? And there was always like a little illustration, so this is like what they looked like, and they were so funny. And I just remember sitting there reading these, and I had probably read this multiple times when I was a kid. Like, I was really obsessed with it. And I remember this one, Miss Jules, because I think it was like she saw the kids acting up as like monkeys and stuff like that, and whatever. And yeah, there was just Lewis. These are by Louis Sachar. And yeah, he was just a great, like, such a great, like, children's writer. So for example, like Miss Jules' story, right? It started off like this. Mrs. Jules had a terribly nice face. She stood up at the bottom of Wayside School and looked up. She was supposed to teach the class on the 30th story. The children on the 30th story were scared. They had never told anybody what had happened to Mrs. Gorf. They hadn't had a teacher for 3 days. And everything's kind of consistent because Miss Gorf, I think, turned the kids into something different. Like she turned them into something, and then they got rid of her somehow. I can't remember, but these were so good. These were so good, and I like absolutely adored them when I was a kid. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I kind of want to reread them again. Next thing that I have, number 2 here, I really used to love comics, and especially Sonic the Hedgehog. I was obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. I loved playing the games, like the Game Boy games and everything, and I used to read the comics. So this is one of the comics I have, and this one was from, I think, 2006, I want to say, because on the back of this one, it's like an ad for Brother Bear 2, which I think came out, yeah, like maybe 2006 or something like that. It'll say it's somewhere in here, but yeah, I just can't remember. But nonetheless, I have some of these that date back to maybe, I think, like 2000, like the year 2000, but they're really tattered and stuff like that. So I just wanted to grab one that was still like really good and like tack, because the first couple that I had, I was like 4 or 5 years old when I started kind of collecting some of them, and I loved these. Like, they were so cool. Like, look at the illustrations. That's what I want to show you guys. They were so cool, and I don't know if I'm the only one well, obviously not the only one, people love comics, but I don't know, like, who else was like obsessed with Sonic comics? They were so cool, and I love the whole concept of, like, you know, Sonic and Tails and all their other friends, and they were the freedom fighters, and then obviously like Robotnik, and then they introduced like these other characters and stuff like that, and just it got really cool. Like Rouge, I think her name was Rouge, I can't remember. If you're a Sonic fan, correct me if I'm wrong. But Rouge was like a newer character that they had introduced at some point, like early 2000s and stuff like that, and she was in like the games and stuff, and they had her in like the series. I used to watch the Sonic the Hedgehog series and stuff too, and I loved it. I was just so obsessed, and I still love the games, and I have them and everything. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog was my shit, and these comics were like the best thing ever, and I honestly wish I had a bigger collection of them, but unfortunately I didn't. But you know, I really like treasure the ones that I have. Like, look at this. There's like Hubba Bubba ads in here. There is Captain Underpants ads in here. Like, that's how you know this is early 2000s stuff. It is so like iconic, but I love it. The next two books that I have, these are huge. I'm trying to not hold them like utterly awkwardly. So these are Egyptology and Dragonology. So these are what they look like. They are really large books. Like, and when you're a kid and you have this on your lap, like it's significant weight to have on your lap. I was, again, obsessed with these as a kid, and I used to spend hours and hours reading through them and looking at the pictures. So what I really loved about these books is that they were very, very interactive, like incredibly interactive. The minute you open it, on the first page, there's like an envelope with a letter in it, and the concept was basically like the search for the tomb of Osiris. There were different like flaps that you can pull open and like see things, and it was just all about like Egypt. Like I'm trying to like get this all up in the angle, but these opened up. It was like so cool. And like this page, for example, it was talking about this game called Senet, and there was like little like paper pieces, and you can play the game within the book. And the illustrations were just the coolest. This was one of my favorites. So here was the tomb, and it showed you the different layers of the coffin as like they buried the pharaohs, and all the way to the inside where they were just a whole, you know, dead person. But it was the most fascinating thing to me, and I was obsessed with ancient Egypt growing up. I just found like ancient civilization so interesting, and so like, you know, it was just amazing to think that this was real. Like, these were real things that happened, and it blew my mind. And even to now, like, some of my tattoos that I have stem from like ancient Egyptian stuff as well. Like, I have the Ankh on the back of my neck. I have a Queen Nefertiti on the back of my shoulder. I can't show you guys right now because like I'm all wrapped up in this, but maybe one day I'll do like a tattoo thing, a tattoo tour or something like that. And then the other one was Dragonology, and it's the same thing. I was obsessed with dragons. I love them, and I still do. I am waiting to get my dragon tattoo. It's on my list and I want to do it. But it was just the fact that they were mythical, but I felt like they were so real somehow. I just couldn't really like, I don't know, I couldn't really explain it, but I always somehow believed that they were still real. And in this one, like, there was a map of where you could find different dragons. There were like these little like samples that showed here like a dragon skin, and they were really like, you know, touchable. There was different textures and stuff like that. There was a page that I really liked. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm sorry that I have to stand sideways. This book is so big. Oh, this. So this shows you dragon script here. It's kind of like the different like symbols, and then basically there was the words here, and then here was your symbols. So what I used to do was, you know, write everything out and translate it, because I felt like I was seriously doing like, you know, like some deep work here. There was like dragon riddles and puzzles. Oh, there was dragon dust. I really liked this. There was dragon dust in here. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's just so interactive. And then at the very end of the book, there's this gigantic dragon. And when you look into like the thing, like it was just so cool. It was so amazing. And again, like when you're a kid, to dive into a book like this, I really felt like I was diving into like this hidden world that people like didn't really know about, and I was super special because I was gonna summon the dragon somehow. I really loved playing Spyro the Dragon too when I was a kid. I still do. I still play it actually. Like, you know, sometimes I get the urge and I still play it. It was my favorite game. But yeah, I loved dragons as well, and this kept me busy for hours. And there was actually a spin-off to this, like it was like the Dragonology handbook, and I have that too. It's somewhere on my shelf. But I just figured I'd pull out like the big one, the one that started it all, to show you guys for this video. So the last thing that I have to show you guys, and this is also back to like a different kind of genre here, but magazines. I used to love the Neopets magazine. If you were a kid in the 2000s, you probably played Neopets. If you didn't, like, I don't know what you were doing, but I was playing Neopets, and it was, oh my gosh, like this is so much nostalgia just looking at it. I pulled it out from the bottom of my shelf and I was like, oh my god, the Neopet magazine. Like, I had to squeal a little bit. But these were so cool. They were kind of expensive though, to be honest, back in the day. They were like $15 Canadian, and this was in like 2006. This one, the date that I have here is 2006. So I've had this for 14 years. But the Neopet magazines were so cool. Oh my gosh, wait. Guys, who remembers the video game? Who remembers when we had the Neopets video game? I never had it because, like, I don't know why, which kind of sucks, but that is so cool. It's so, and their magazines were really, like, really interactive as well. Like, there were short stories in them. There were, oh yeah, like for example, like this, Neopia's top 10 stamps, so you can see which were like the sickest stamps to get. There were like game guides to how you could get trophies and stuff on like certain games. There was guides to like the quests. This was the snow fairy. Does anyone remember these? You had to do quests for the fairies, and they were always the hardest shit ever. It was so hard to get them. They would have like drawing submissions from readers. They would have more game guides. Oh my god, this is so cute. These are all like the Christmassy like pets. Does anyone else remember pets? I can't remember which one I had though. And then at the back they had like the plushie guides, official guides, so you can check off which ones you had. And my personal favorite was Neopet trading cards. I have a whole bunch in my closet. I was obsessed with collecting them. And I have like so many. I probably have like 200 cards, and I used to love looking through this section at the back that showed you all the different cards, and like I would make note of which ones I had, which ones I really wanted, which characters that I thought were super cool. Like, I remember I had a friend who had Fauna, and I did not have her. I don't think I ever ended up having her. But I have a lot of these though. I do remember the bottled fairies. Oh, they're so cute. And yeah, like that was just all the stuff that was in. You could even order from the magazines back then too, but I don't think it was open to Canada, which kind of sucked. And then same thing, like at the back they would have like more short stories, and this was February, so this was like a February edition. It was so good. I loved it, and I loved it so much. But so yeah, that was that. And I have a few other ones on my shelf too. I think I had like 6 altogether. Honestly, my parents never really wanted to buy them for me because they were expensive. They were like 15 bucks. So, but I do have, I think, 5 or 6, and I like seriously treasure them and still keep them, of course. So that is it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I wanted to do something just kind of fun. I haven't made a video in a couple weeks because I have been just all over the place with work and different things and stuff like that. And I was looking at my shelf the other day and I'm like, why don't I just do a video about like things that I loved reading as a kid? Because like I had said earlier, like a lot of us, like our love for reading and like literature stemmed when we were kids, right? Whether it was funny stories or like factual like books or magazines or comics. And that's why I also picked like this diverse kind of set, because I used to like to read a lot of different things. I was into comics, I was into magazines, I was into, you know, actual like history, like the, you know, like the kids like history books, and of course I also just like fictional like stories and stuff like that. And all of this stuff created like, you know, who I am now and the things that I like to read now. Except nowadays I don't find myself reading like magazines so much anymore, just because I'm not really into much of like the selection nowadays. But these are all really like special to me, because they're all things that I remember so vividly sitting there as a kid reading, and I'm probably gonna dive into these again later just to like take a stroll down memory lane. But yeah, that is it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. And I am 5 subscribers away from 100. That was my goal by the end of 2020. So thank you so much to everyone who has supported my channel since I started, and who has subscribed, liked, commented on videos. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will see you guys next week when I do my November wrap up. Bye!